Thanks for writing, Rob. I'll ask you a question for you to answer next time. What has been your favorite episode so far? Hope you will write us with the answer. Moving along.
So, here's my question. How does it feel to know that there are constantly going to be mods made about your world? Also, can I just say love you, Monica? Hope you have a good season 3. Thanks for reading. Maybe soon we will be together in my reality, Monica. Good luck with your dreams, Monica. Also, what do you guys think about me becoming a scientist in the future? Because I am planning to go into immunology. Anyways, I better wrap this up. Have a good season 3, everyone. Immunology is the study of the immune system for us humans.
Oh, thank you, emailer. I love you too. I think it's neat that people will keep making mods. I like to think that we're a pretty interesting group of people. So I think it's cool that we keep getting new stories made about us all these years later. Hopefully you're enjoying them. And good luck with going into immunology. I think that's a really noble line of work to pursue. The science very useful to the human race.
Science?
Yeah, this person wants to be an immunologist.
Oh, that's hard. But there are a lot of neat things happening in that field these days. Tell them good luck.
You heard her, emailer. Let's see the next one.
Salutations, Monica and co. I come to you all after having experienced the entirety of both club meetings seasons. At first, the whole concept of having a DDLC mod with weekly episodes ultimately rounded up in handy-dandy collections plus bonus content is what made me download these replays of you. Not having much of an idea what kind of events would be unfolded in front of me and many other players around the world's eyes. Soon after getting through like half of Season 1, I got hooked on the story and very much invested in every one of your struggles. It was all definitely made more bearable by witnessing how you all developed individually and as a group, and it's such a joy to read how you all play off of each other. Some of my favorite moments were definitely when Sassy Natsuki reared her charming head, or whenever I was able to help you, Monica, through thick and thin, to the extent the game allowed me to, that is. All that said, I must admit it's kind of weird for me to talk to actual fictional characters, though you guys are most certainly real in your own dazzling eyes. And while in a sense it's all a lie, I can definitely approve of this endeavor of the club that's been going on for so long, as it enriches both your and our lives. And ultimately, considering the nature of life, a man/woman/whatever should find whatever comfort they can, don't you all agree? Anyway, prologue aside, I felt kind of stumped for questions considering at this point you've all gotten so many, and the ones I am thinking about are just the ones that get past the Monica filter, hahaha. But I may have found just a few. Whether these are answered in a week or in September, when I assume Season 3 will kick off, matters not to me. You all just take as much time as you need, as words cannot sufficiently describe how much I like you all, and love some. My inquiries sorter per person for convenience.
Alright, so yes, this was the other really long one. And this one is really long, one of the longest we've ever gotten. But it had some neat questions in it, so I thought it would be worth taking the time to answer it. I'm really glad you've been enjoying your time with us. Let's go ahead and get right into the questions.
1. Duck Club. Have any of you played DDLC the RPG? I'd be very interested in hearing your opinions on it, as it actually gives the Dokis, minus MC, RPG roles, and has a somewhat wholesome and fun way of dealing with the base traumas you all had in OG DDLC. In DDLC the RPG, when you get the Yuri ending, that instance of her says she used to be called Naifu Waifu, but would rather get Scribu Waifu or Right Wife as a nickname? How do you feel about those, Yuri? Do you have some better suggestions? On the topic of nicknames, do any of you got some for one another, and if not, would you mind sharing one for everyone? Monica, MCC, or Yuri, Natsuki, and Misita. How would you all feel about sharing the simulation/game revelations to Fubuki? I think that from what I've seen from her personality, she could definitely handle it, but at the same time it might imply a trend that anyone who is family or really close with you should or would eventually be informed of it in detail. What do you all think of DDLC Plus, which came out not too long ago? Do you remember everything that happened in the side stories, or are those memories exclusive to those versions of you guys? Also, any thoughts on the fact that this re-release essentially let his other versions of you go through all the original drama once more, while it could have been a perfect opportunity for Dan to make everything less traumatic? Speaking of different versions, do any of you share some kind of psychic link with all of your doppelgangers in the various DDLC mods? In other words, are you aware of their actions/feelings, etc.? Additionally, how would you all react if one day you met a 100% faithful clone of yourselves? Would you get along, or ironically annoyed at yourself? If any of you have watched it, how do you feel about Hazbin Hotel and Hell of a Boss individually? How do they compare to one another, considering they take place in the same universe? This may be a kind of negative question, but I recall that when it came to politics, one of you said that if you are not interested in it, you are just a silent enabler. Similarly, I vaguely remember one of you also stating that having a favorite girl is kind of toxic in its own right, unless it was another player who implied that.
Starting with this first one.
Oh.
I don't think any of us have played DDLC the RPG, but we'll look into it and see what you mean. Not that I'm particularly eager to revisit any traumas. Yuri, question 2.
I am not a particular fan of any of those nicknames. I am more than a writer or a collection of knives. And despite the most fervent wishes of some of you, I am not your wife. Be that as it may, I think that Knife Wife has the best sense to it. It rhymes and rolls off the tongue well. So I will tolerate that as the best of these fan nicknames.
As for the third one, with one exception, none of us really use nicknames around here. Everyone calls everyone else by their given name, mostly. Except sometimes I call Sayori Bun, and sometimes Sayo, which is a nickname Natsuki uses for her sometimes.
It's a good one!
I have other more cutesy, embarrassing nicknames for her that I call her sometimes, but I'm not going to share those with you.
What? You're going to tell me though, right?
We will see.
Okay, let's see. Question 4. I really don't want to tell Fuyuki about reality. That's Fuyuki with a Y, by the way, like the city ends Fate/0, not Fubuki with a B like the B-class hero from One Punch Man or the Fox VTuber. But anyway, yeah, she'd probably handle it okay. But why assume that when there's no need? She's perfectly happy the way she is. And I want her to stay that way, forever. She's done so much to help me and protect me, I've leaned on her a lot, you know. So if, in this one little way, I can protect her and keep her safe and happy, and the cost is that I can't bitch about the reality stuff to her, that seems fair. So no, I don't think I'm going to tell her anytime soon, if ever. Oh yeah, the DDLC Plus stuff. Yes, we suddenly got the memories of what happened in the side stories as though it had happened to us. I prefer to think of all those things as actually having happened to us. Those deep and close moments of friendship make me happier than anything else in the main game. So yes, I'm glad for them. I don't mind too much that the same game was otherwise re-released. If the game was less jarring or less dramatic, or less traumatic for that matter, would it have had the same impact? Would it be the same game? Would we be the same people? The way I see it, it is what it is, and I'm just glad we got something positive out of it with the side stories. Nothing will ever undo what happened to us the week of the festival. All we can do is try to make our lives better going forward. To answer your next question, no, we don't have any awareness of ourselves in other DDLC mods. I mean, obviously since we have the internet, we can download and play those mods. But other than that, we don't have any access to those other versions of ourselves. It's definitely interesting to see the different ways a character can be interpreted though. Let's see, next up, clones of ourselves. You know, interestingly, I think I can make this happen. No! Fair enough, I guess there's your answer from Natsuki. Yeah. I'll admit it. I'd probably find a clone of myself super insufferable. I know I can be super damn annoying and mean sometimes. I don't like it about myself. But that's just who I am. And I'm trying to be better about it. But yeah, if I met a copy of me in real life, I'd probably piss me off pretty badly. But at least then I'd have someone who could always call out when I'm a bitch I'm being with no problem. If I was even willing to listen to myself, that is. I think I'd get along pretty well with a clone of myself. If my mods hadn't made that clear yet. Alternatively, I might be terribly annoyed by myself. Especially at my worst moments when I'm feeling down, I'm probably kind of annoying. But for the most part, I think we'd get along. It's all real hard for me to like myself without there being two of me. That's all I'm going to say about it.
I am not sure what my dynamic would be like with myself. Anytime we were near each other, we probably would not say much. I suppose it might be nice to have someone to read nearby who appreciates the value of silence. But other than that, I'm not sure what we would do.
Oh, I'd definitely be friends with myself. Think of how good I could be at co-op games.
Oh crap, you're right!
Yeah! It'd be a huge bonus. You'd know that what you were thinking, and you'd have similar playstyles to yourself.
Dang, okay, I'd be friends with myself for that reason if nothing else.
Definitely.
Let's see. As we go down the email, don't forget you can right-click to hide the dialog box so you can read this long email. Hasbin Hotel. Pretty sure I'm the only person here who's watched it. I think they're both pretty similar shows. I think Has-Been is the more serious kind of plot-driven show, whereas Boss is like the more funny ha-ha kind of show. Although they get into some pretty amazing heartbreaking character building in Boss too. But they're both good in their own ways. I dig the animation style and the absolutely no fucks given sense of humor. It's definitely my kind of thing. Here's the thing about the neutrality question. Politics is very different from people. Having a policy you support or oppose might affect a lot of people's lives positively or negatively. It's important. And it doesn't denigrate anyone. Whereas with people, all of whom are trying their best, telling them, hey, my favorite one of you is so-and-so, she's better than the others, well,
That's a little toxic.
yes.
Now, with us, it's a little better because we're fictional characters to you. But that kind of evaluation of people can really hurt people's feelings. And it makes people feel less, which is never kind. So yes, I think I agree with Monica. The two cases are very dissimilar. And whether neutrality is a good thing or not depends very much on the context. And you don't have to be neutral about us. You can like all of us after all. Incidentally, I think Monica and I were the only ones to play the Club Taker mod.
Yes, it was fun and cute. And very impressive from a technical perspective. I think the story was pretty normal, especially given that it was a Helltaker takeoff.
Yes, but it was very impressive how they managed to make everything. The gameplay was quite fun.
It sure was. Okay, on to the individual questions. That was just the beginning? I told you it was long. Here we go.
Natsuki, what was your sister's name back when she was still a boy? Does she maintain any boyish mannerisms or way of thinking? 2. Natsuki and MC, have you seen Invincible show? What are your thoughts on it? How does it compare to the comics? Who is your favorite character and why? 3. Natsuki and MC, if you can. Since you're clearly best friends, or no, best friend because you respect JoJo, I'd like to know, who's your favorite big bad and why? Which of our heroes that has died really shouldn't have in your opinion? Also, Natsuki and MC again, if you can. What do you think of the Juice Man channel? It is mainly JoJo-oriented, but in an interesting way.
So, with Fuyuki, she decided to keep her birth name. It's a little strange because Fuyuki is kind of a boy's name in Japan. Most of the time, trans people with a gender-given name change it. But she says that she's been Fuyuki her whole life and that doesn't change. And she says she's a girl when Fuyuki is her name, so Fuyuki therefore becomes a girl's name too. I think that's a cool way to think about it.
Very postmodern.
Oh, I thought she changed her name. Nah, her name's always been Fuyuki. I can see why you'd assume she changed it though. I mean, you've basically seen what she's all about at this point. I guess she's probably more athletic than your normal girl, but I'm not sure that counts as boyish. And she's sassy and outgoing and confident, but again, plenty of girls like that. So I guess it depends on what you mean by boyish. I mean, yeah, she probably has some boyish mannerisms, but honestly, of the two of us, I'm probably the more tomboyish one. Anyway, me and MC have both seen Invincible, yeah. I have also read the comics, but MC has not.
The show was really cool. It was a really neat superhero deconstruction.
Yeah, like he said. I think it's a little early to talk about comparisons to the comics. The show is so far behind. We'll know more when we get more seasons out of it. Hint, hint. My favorite good character has gotta be Mark. Dude's a legend with a heart of gold. MC, what about you?
Cecil.
Yes, a fine choice. Best JoJo Big Bad? I mean, how could you pick anyone other than Dio? He's Dio!
Concur, it's gotta be Dio.
As to Anita Death, that's a good one. I hate it when Caesar dies, but that one feels sort of necessary. I'm gonna go with Abdul. That guy was such a bro. They didn't need to do him dirty like that. Fucking Vanilla Ice, man. What about you, MC?
Zeppeli.
Ah, yep, that's a sad one. But another sacrifice one, I guess, like Caesar. I haven't heard of the channel you're talking about, but he looks like a trip. Maybe I'll check it out later. Okay, who's up next?
Miss Ida. Miss Ida, now that you are aware you essentially live in the Matrix, does it make teaching students any less rewarding knowing they're stuck in a time loop, or is that only the case for the Literature Club? How will this information, of you being a VN character, affect your day-to-day life/view of the world?
More questions for you, Miss Ida.
Coming.
You don't have to, you know.
No, it's fine. It'd be healthy for me to think about something else for a little while. Oh no, everyone's in a time loop. We're just the only ones who know about it. Somehow it doesn't make teaching feel any less rewarding, though. Probably because of the same effect that makes us feel complacent about the loop in the first place. But it looks like Monica might be on her way to getting rid of the loop, though. So that's all the more reason to work hard. Like I said before, it doesn't affect my day-to-day very much. It's an interesting fact, but to me, at least, it has very little practical effect. I wish I could have been there to provide some help and guidance for Monica when it first started to hurt her. But what's done is done. I'm glad everyone is safe and okay now. Alright, back to work for me. I have so much to do.
Sayori! Sayori, I must say your latest mod was incredible, and absolutely the most fun I had with many of them in Season 2. Not only because it was the most game-like in the individual episodes, I find myself often starved for choices, but also because you had Natsuki as the MC, and she is just such a joy to experience. Did Natsuki keep a watchful eye over you to make sure she was well represented? What inspired you for the concept? Also, is it downloadable? Standalone? Somewhere? I'd love to share it with my friends without them potentially needing to get caught up on club meetings lore. Sayori, whenever you, the Vice President, demands it, we as the player can hear this adorable zing sound. Can any of you relate? What sound would Monica make if she demands it? Now I would describe it more as a shing sound than a zing, but...
Oh, hey, you liked my mod! Thanks! It was really hard to make! I felt like it really took forever, but I got there in the end. Yeah, Natsuki helped a bit with writing a few things. She didn't really know too much about some parts until I was done, but she wrote some of her own dialogue.
Clearly!
Well, hopefully I got it pretty accurate anyway.
In some things.
I was inspired by the old games where you go around and pick up stuff and combine all the stuff and use it to do stuff. Like Monkey Island. So I just tried to make a game that are like that in a little environment. Monica, can I get my mod standalone? Unfortunately, no. I could try to do that, but it would be a bit of a hassle, and it's quite as much as I can manage doing all the other stuff for our fans. I would say just have your friends skip all the other club meeting stuff and jump straight to the mod for the collection. That way they don't have to catch up on anything. Oh, okay then.